Come on. We will win. Because we will hit all game. We are motivated. We are dedicated. Come on now. Come on now. We will win. Because we are the best on the field. Then we hit the field like, all day like, all night like, on the blue light, offense like, defense like, his squad like, house call like, and it sound like, and it sound like, and it sound like.
Welcome to the Short Sports Show. I'm your host, Daniel Short. Today is June 30th. It's already month of June done with. In case you guys don't know, you should already know, All or Nothing has come out. It's on Amazon. If you don't have Amazon Prime, you need to go get that. I think everybody in the country now has Amazon Prime, just like Netflix. But All or Nothing, I started actually watching the first episode. So far, it's okay. I think it's just more of, he's already watching Hard Knocks, and you see the Rams, and it's basically the same thing. It's a little bit better, though. I think All or Nothing, so far, production-wise, editing-wise, putting it all together, it looks a lot better than Hard Knocks. But it is kind of just sucky just to see the Rams over again. Unless you're a Rams fan, then I'm sure you're super happy, but it's just, yeah. Anyways, that's out, so I'm going to binge watch that after I'm done with this. We got a pretty good amount to talk about. We're going to start a new segment for college football as we are getting closer and closer and closer to college football kickoff, guys. It's not that far away. I'm excited for it. We have that. We're going to talk about our top 5 for each position group in college football. This week, we're going to talk about the top 5 best secondaries for the 2017 college football season. NFL-wise, Vince Young decided to start roasting some of the current NFL quarterbacks and headline the word current. Where's Vince Young right now? Well, he is currently waived by the CFL after tearing his hamstring. He couldn't even stay healthy when he's been doing nothing. So he decided to go off on a little rant. We also have some other news in NFL. There's first female instant replay official in the NFL. We'll talk about that. Some NFL suspensions. And finally, Brett Favre. He is thinking about making a comeback to the NFL. Believe it or not. We will talk about that and what his next move might possibly be. But first, as always, we're going to talk about some college football news. And that is, again, our news segment starting as we are getting closer and closer to college football kickoff. It's almost there. It's almost there. Our new segment, top 5 for each position group. This week, it is the top 5 best secondaries for the 2017 college football season. And, before people go crazy, because there's only 5 schools that I'm picking. Likely might not be your school. So in the comment section, but just so we can start off now, go ahead and tell me, who do you believe is the top 5, who has the best top 5 secondaries in college football this season? We are going to start off with number 5, and that is the Wisconsin Badgers. Now, don't get me wrong, they did suffer some key losses this offseason, losing cornerback Sojourn Shelton and Leo Musso, who both started all 14 games for the Badgers last season as seniors, and they combined for 9 interceptions and 13 passes defended. Definitely hurts. But this program has continued year in and year out to produce top defensive backs every single season, and it's always been fun to watch their defense. It's just become a nightmare for Big Ten offenses. Now, before 2016, the Badgers had ranked in the top 20 in yards, passing yards allowed per game. And that was from 2011 to 2015. Now, in 2016, they were just outside of that. They averaged 202.6 yards per game, which was 30th in the country last season. Now, they do have some guys that are returning that this is why I'm still keeping them on the list over some other schools like Michigan and Florida, who did suffer some major losses. And I just feel like there's too many question marks to label them in the top 5 right now. So you already know those 2 schools aren't on here. But you have Derek Tyndall. He broke up 10 passes last season, also had 3 interceptions. You have DeConte Dixon, Natrell Jamerson. They should be starters as seniors this upcoming season. And one of the most interesting things about this Badgers team is they have a Hawaii transfer, Nick Nelson, who sat out 2016 due to NCAA transfer rules. But as a sophomore for Hawaii, he had 15 passes defended against. 15. And again, last season he had to sit out, but he was still able to obviously learn the system, learn the program. Should be able to step in right away, I would assume so, with some definite talent there. So that's why I'm keeping Wisconsin at number 5, and I think that's respectable for them. And it should be fun to see how they continue to reload on that defense. And speaking of reloading, we'd head over to number 4, and that's the Ohio State Buckeyes. Now, I understand. You just said Michigan and Florida. They lost a ton to the NFL draft. So did Ohio State. Ohio State lost 3 defensive backs in the first 24 picks of the 2016 NFL draft. But this isn't the first time, and they continue to reload. They are one of the very few that can reload at the defensive back position. So Damon Webb is the main guy. 57 tackles, 3 passes defended, and a pick 6 last season. You also have Denzel Ward, who led the team in passes defended with 9, despite not starting a single game. This guy did not start one game, still led the school in passes defended. Not bad. Not bad at all. That's reloading. And then you also have the intriguing player of Kendall Sheffield. Now, this guy's an incoming transfer and a former 5-star recruit who was at the University of Alabama. He transferred to Blinn College, played there for 1 year, is now with the Ohio State Buckeyes. He will likely take one of those starting positions, and it's going to be interesting how if he can fill up to that top 5, or excuse me, the 5-star ranking that he once had back in high school. So to leave Ohio State out is a little, that's crazy. That's crazy. They have shown season after season to be able to reload and produce guys to take them to the NFL. At number 3, now I'm not going to lie, this one was a little shocking when I was looking up, stats. I wanted to go off of stats, but also who was coming back and some of the intriguing players. And again, we're just talking about secondaries here. And obviously the secondary benefits from the defensive line, how quick they can get to the quarterback and rush that quarterback. But one of the most intriguing schools is definitely Virginia Tech. And that's who's number 3. 5 times last season, Virginia Tech held an opponent under a 40% completion percentage. Under 40%. Terrell Edmonds and Mook Reynolds, they will take over the secondary after combining for 6 interceptions and 9 passes defended. The guy to remember his name, ladies and gentlemen, Adonis Alexander. He will have a much bigger role at safety as a junior this upcoming season. Tallied 6 interceptions and 19 passes defended in his first 2 seasons. Greg Stroman finished the year with 3 interceptions and 10 passes defended as well. Brandon Faison, he also had a double-digit passes defended for the 2nd straight year, starting all 14 games at cornerback in 2016. Now, given that ACC offenses have kind of died down after the NFL draft, Virginia Tech could be another stingy defense. Moving on to number 2, there are only 1% of schools that can reload rather than rebuild. We talked about Ohio State. The one who is the definition of reloading is Alabama, the Crimson Tide. They won't feel the loss of Marlon Humphrey, who was a first-round draft pick like other schools would have. Other schools would have definitely felt the effect of not having a first-round DB. For Alabama, well, that's become tradition now. They will have last year's 3 leaders in passes defended. Anthony Everett, who had 8. Minka Fitzpatrick with 7, as well as Ronnie Harrison, who also had 7. Fitzpatrick, though, 6 interceptions and is likely one, if not the top DB in getting ready for the NFL draft of next year. Alabama also signed 2 of the top 8 cornerbacks of last year's class, Jared Maiden and Shaheem Carter, as well as athlete Trevin Diggs, who worked out in the spring as their number 2 cornerback. Something to look for. Now, senior Hootie Jones, who's been in some had some off the field issues last season. He is a senior, and he did break up 4 passes last season in limited reps. He should have a bigger role for the Crimson Tide. It's hard to keep them off a number 2. And finally, number 1, if you didn't guess it already, you had to know this. The Florida State Seminoles. Now, if you don't think the Seminoles are going to have one of the best, the best secondary in college football this season, you might want to watch some more film and look who they got returning. And before you say, well, what about last year's stats? Last year, Florida State, thinking about the Clemson game where they gave up 500 yards of offense. That was without the top defensive back in the country in Derwin James. Now, before you also say, one player does not make a secondary, well, you tell that to the Seattle Seahawks who lost Earl Thomas and see how that defense changed. Now, Derwin James, he is widely regarded as one of the best defenders in the country heading into the 2017 season. Now, with James back, and you also have Tarvarius McFadden, who is also rated as one of the top defensive backs in the country, the Seminoles will look to absolutely wreak havoc on ACC quarterbacks. You also have Trey Marshall and A.J. Westbrook, who combined it for 98 tackles and 8 passes defended. Now, hopefully, no injuries happen. And if so, Florida State should have the stingiest defense in the country and also the best. Did I leave your team out? Do you believe Michigan or Florida should have been in the top 5 over Wisconsin, Ohio State, or some of the other schools? Let me know in the comment section down below. Also, tweet me at Short Sports Show. Become a fan on Facebook, The Short Sports Show. And that's really it for college football news. There's really not a whole lot. I don't want to have such a downer show. There are a few players who got arrested. There's even a player at Marshall, I believe, was shot. It's just why bring the morale down, right? No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, some of that stuff. Vanderbilt, I believe, had 3 players arrested. Marshall, an unnamed Marshall player, was shot. I believe he will live though, so that's good. At least there's some good news that comes out of it that he is going to live. Let's see. Oh, what about, we're moving on to the NFL now. Zach Orr, former Ravens linebacker who retired back in January. Due to medical reasons, he was given multiple medical opinions that he would not be able to play football again, or at least if he did, he would likely could become paralyzed. He had a neck injury that was pretty bad. Well, recently, out of nowhere, he got another medical opinion, and a doctor did say that he could play. And the chances of him becoming paralyzed are very small. So, he could go back to the league if he wanted to. And during his time with the Ravens, this guy helped the Ravens. We all saw after Ed Reed and Ray Lewis, after they were gone, the defense really lost. It's not only its intimidation, but its overall just ability to play a really, really good defense. It wasn't there. Now, he helped get the Ravens back to, the Ravens, believe it or not, really have one of the best defenses in the league coming into 2017. And so, it was a huge loss for the Ravens not having him. Now that he is likely going to play this season, apparently he is a free agent. I guess they terminated his contract when he retired, because usually if you retire, the team still keeps your contract, just like what we saw with Marshawn Lynch. He retired, Seahawks still owned his rights and all that. I didn't look at his contract situation, but he is a free agent. He's visiting the Jets. I think Buffalo was another team that was also looking at him. Now, the Jets could sign him, and I hope he doesn't go to the Jets. He really should have, could have some other offers. I would not go to the Jets right now. I don't think anybody believes the Jets are a team worth playing for right now. It is bad over there. And sure, yes, he would become an immediate starter, taking over for David Harris, who they just cut and now signed with the Patriots that we talked about last week. It's still not worth it. It is still not worth it. But hopefully, if all's good, I hope he does come back to the league and play in the safest, healthiest way possible. But yeah, just don't sign with the Jets. Now, Terry Valentine was named the NFL's first female instant replay official. Not the first official, not the first referee, but the first female or instant replay official. She has worked on instant replay for the NFL for the past 5 years prior to her promotion, so she is now promoted as a head instant replay official, which is awesome. Diversity, ladies and gentlemen. Diversity. Can we give an applause for diversity? Woo! No, but it is really good, though. That is awesome because we need that. I memean, really, if you think women now know, I mean, they have before, but they really know football. And so to just think to keep it all old school and say women don't have a place for football or the NFL is ridiculous. So definitely should be interesting. I mean, not any fans are really going to notice a big difference in how replays are called. But it is good. It is good. I just realized I have a freaking spider web. Ew. Awkward. Let's move on. So Vince Young. All right. Don't get me wrong. Vince Young, I'm not a University of Texas Longhorn fan. I'm not. But I did like Vince Young. He was the only player I liked off that team and the one I rooted for heading on into the NFL. I really did like him. I still kind of do. I mean, I don't hate him. I don't dislike him. I'm not a favorite, but I'm a little bit lost on some of his logic right now. So, Young opened up about his life in the NFL, including a return to the game as was a CFL quarterback for Saskatchewan Roughriders, but tore his hamstring and was then waived by the team. But he talks about the highs and lows of his pro career with Sports Illustrated. He also talks about, which this is worth reading, because he talks about his relationship or lack thereof with former Titans head coach Jeff Fisher. This was a very awkward situation when this all happened that apparently Young even plans to, quote, expose in his future book about Jeff Fisher. Now, a real quick insight to this, as I was kind of growing up a Titans fan because when I first got into football, I bought the 2003 season recap of the Tennessee Titans. That was with McNair, Keith Bullock, Eddie George. Man, I could recite that entire film. I could just watch it and recite everything. Anyways, Steve McNair was getting towards the end of his career. Vince Young was obviously there to be drafted. The team kind of pushed McNair out. That's why he ended up going to Baltimore, and then they drafted Vince Young. Best thing they could have done is still kept Steve McNair, drafted Vince Young, and let him learn from McNair. That probably would have done wonders for Vince Young's career. That did not happen. A whole lot. That's what kind of got the Titans off to really the end of their dynasty. Is the ownership, coaching staff, general manager, all conflicted with keeping McNair or moving on with Vince Young. Anyways, let's get to the whole point of this. Young went off on some current NFL quarterbacks and mainly Ryan Fitzpatrick, which we all understand Fitzpatrick is a joke. But for Vince Young, I don't think he really has room to speak here. He went off on Fitz and said, quote, "I hate to name drop, but Ryan Fitzpatrick is still playing. He leads the league in interceptions. He's still blank getting paid. I mean, what the blank is going on?" End quote. Now, while, again, I might agree with Vince Young's take on this, maybe not as heavily, but his take on why, Fitzpatrick is still a QB and all this other stuff, I don't think Vince Young's really the guy to be talking about this because he kind of cursed himself when he called it the dream team back in Philadelphia. We all saw how that ended out. He couldn't get it going as to be a backup quarterback in Green Bay. All he had to do was sit and learn, or not learn, but just sit behind Aaron Rodgers, practice, and he couldn't get it done. So for him to kind of be talking about current NFL quarterbacks who at least have started and been playing, it's a little kind of iffy because Fitzpatrick, he's done a little bit more work than Vince Young has in an NFL career, which is kind of weird to say. But, Vince Young, just focus on your book and healing up that hammy. Former Buffalo Bills running back Carlos Williams, who was surprisingly cut by the team before the 2016 season following a really good rookie campaign. He's now been suspended by the NFL for a period of at least 1 year after a third substance abuse violation. Now, he's currently a free agent after being waived by the Pittsburgh Steelers this offseason, but he was a 5th-round pick for Buffalo back in 2015. Played 11 games as a rookie, started 3, and he did really good. On 93 carries, he had 517 yards, scored 7 rushing touchdowns in addition to 2 receiving touchdowns. He actually tied an NFL record in his rookie year in 2015 by scoring a touchdown in each of his first 6 games played in the league. This guy looked very good and looked like, him and LaShawn McCoy, were going to be a 1-2 combo. That obviously did not happen due to careless mistakes by Carlos Williams. The Dallas Cowboys received some unfortunate news when defensive end David Irving had been suspended for the first 4 games of the 2017 season for violating, again, the NFL's policy against performance-enhancing drugs. Now, Irving, he had appealed the suspension back in May after a source said that the issue stemmed from over-the-counter substance Irving used in an attempt to endorse the product. This is still at fault for Irving, but at the same time, I really feel a lot of the blame should go on his agent. This was going to be, again, an attempt to endorse a product. His agent should have done the research, do what he's getting paid for, and look to see if this was on the banned substance. The NFL updates it every single year and has a clear link, and every agent should have multiple copies, and also should always give a copy to each athlete, to each player he signs with. But they have a list of every single one that is banned. It just takes 2 minutes max to look to see if any over-the-counter drug substance, to see if it is banned. Because again, it will cost you not only playing time, but it will cost you money. That is a big issue. Again, not taking all the blame from Irving. He still also should have done this as well. But I really think a lot of the blame goes on his agent. So sadly, yes, he will be suspended for the first 4 games. I really like David Irving too. He came on strong. He started only 2 of the 16 games last season, but he did finish with 4 sacks. And he'll be eligible to return to the Cowboys roster on October 2nd. Now, he's still able to participate in all offseason and preseason practices ahead of the regular season. So he still gets a little bit of work in. He did sign his exclusive free agent tender earlier in the offseason and is set to become a restricted free agent after the 2017 season. So he's got a lot to play for if he wants to stay and wearing that star. So, here we are again. Brett Favre has entertained the thought coming back to the NFL. No. He's not unretiring and going to play football again. That time's done, thankfully. God, that was the most annoying time in sports. But he has considered possibly being a coach or a general manager. Now, during his appearance on ESPN's Wisconsin's Wild and Tosh on Thursday, Favre said, quote, "That type of stuff has crossed my mind because it's no different than me coaching. It's being involved in a game in some aspect," end quote. Now, Favre has already spent 2 years coaching back in a high school at Oak Grove High School in Hattiesburg, Mississippi, after retiring. He spent 2 years there. And he went on to say, quote, "I always thought I would be a good coach, but I didn't know if I had the effort in me. Well, I did. And I'll tell you what, it was a joy. The competitive spirit came right back. It was obviously different than playing, and so I had a lot of fun." Now, when he was asked about possibly doing what John Elway did, about becoming possibly a general manager, he said, quote, "I think the competitive spirit would be there. It's just different because there's a business side to it. I don't know if I would have it in me. Picking good players is always an art, and some do it better than others. And there's some luck involved and things like that, but yeah, it has crossed my mind, just like coaching has." Now, Favre did point out that Hall of Fame quarterback Bart Starr followed a similar post-football path with the Packers, serving as a head coach from 1975 to 1983. And two of Favre's former backups in Green Bay, Philadelphia Eagles head coach Doug Peterson and BYU's offensive coordinator Ty Detmer, have found success in coaching. He's also considered stepping into broadcast booth as well. However, Favre said, this is the funniest part about this all. As much as we think this could happen soon, a year or two, this is where I was thrown in for a surprise. Curveball, ready. Here we go. That was stupid. I'm sorry. Favre said that any NFL pursuits will remain on hold until his youngest daughter, Braylee, finishes her college volleyball career at Southern Miss. Ladies and gentlemen, she will be a freshman this fall for Southern Miss. So we possibly have to wait 4 more years to see Brett Favre's next move. And could he become a coach in the NFL? Now, it's not going to happen. Well, that could happen. But wouldn't this be funny? Let's say he says, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and come back. I'm going to start coaching. And I don't know exactly if he's got to work his way up through the ranks, or does he automatically become an OC or just a quarterback's coach? I don't exactly know. But consider this. I think you guys know what I'm about to say. Brett Favre, quarterback coach and offensive coordinator for the Green Bay Packers. Aaron Rodgers still at QB. Just throw it out there. See you guys. See y'all later. Let me know how that goes. I think it'd be fun. I think it'd be great. No, that would be absolutely crazy. Yeah. Let me know in the comment section. Do you see Brett Favre possibly coming back for the Green Bay Packers as a coach, as a general manager, or is just fluff he's throwing out there just to get his name out there once again? Because this is what Brett Favre has to do. He's got to have his name in some offseason topic. So let me know in the comment section down below. Also tweet me at Short Sports Show. Become a fan on Facebook, The Short Sports Show. That's it for today's show, guys. That is it. Quick show. Might I even say a short show? Okay, I'm going to stop. These puns are not getting any funnier. No matter how much I try. But anyways, I really do appreciate you guys listening. As always, be sure to subscribe on YouTube. We continue to grow over there. Our LeBron James video topic, boy, that was, I think we're at or almost at 10,000 views. I think we're at 10,000 views on LeBron James. And of course, Chris Paul, God dang it, Chris Paul, got traded to the stupid Houston Rockets. I seriously thought it's not working out, guys. That is not working out. Chris Paul to the Rockets is not working out. It's going to work out. They're still going to make the playoffs, possibly even as a 2 seed. I'm willing to reach that far that they might get a 2 seed. But to think that the Houston Rockets, even with Chris Paul right now in this team, and I get it, they're high scoring, but to think that that was the missing piece for them to get to the NBA Finals, let alone to the Western Conference Finals, not happening. I'm telling you guys right now, it is not happening. Chris Paul, I see the Spurs. This is what I don't understand. We talked about this already about Chris Paul possibly going to the Spurs at that time. The Spurs said they were interested. Just Chris Paul definitely was interested. He was definitely interested. But when they both learned that Tony Parker will return this season, he does want to play. In fact, for the Spurs as well, Spurs backed off, and therefore Chris Paul had to look elsewhere, had to look at his other options. And that's where he's now taking his talents to Houston. For the life of me, I don't understand why the Spurs, I get it maybe because of just good morals. This is the best moral and character franchise in any sports league. But to believe that Tony Parker will lead you farther this upcoming season than a potential Chris Paul, I disagree. I completely disagree. If I was the Spurs, even after being informed Tony Parker would have returned, I would have done my best to ship him out, or, you know, I don't know how much they could cut him for. I don't know how much they got to take off of dead money or whatever. But I would have said, you know what? I like our chances with Chris Paul over Tony Parker due to injuries and just Parker getting older. And I think Chris Paul's just got that juice right now. He's just got the juice. So that's my little take. Obviously not happening. Tony Parker apparently staying. We'll play for the Spurs. Chris Paul now the point guard for the Houston Rockets. That's it for this week's show. Be sure to subscribe to us on YouTube. Like us on Facebook. Follow me on Twitter at Short Sports Show. iTunes, we're there. Hit us up. What else we got? Stitcher Radio, SoundCloud, Spreaker. I mean, we everywhere. We just doing what it do. We just doing what it is. We're just doing what it does. That's it for this week's show. As always, God first, God bless, guys. I will see you guys next Friday. I'm out. Peace.